Welcome to Sportstar, sir.
Thank you.
So, just to begin with, you were used to the whole Olympic circus with table tennis being initiated in 1988 and you being one of India's first table tennis Olympians. Cut to 1992, what was the qualification process like? Because now at least it's sort of formalized. What was it back then?
Frankly speaking, when 1998, that was the first time that table tennis got introduced in Seoul Olympics,
Hmm.
we, as TT players, Olympic was, we didn't realize the importance of Olympics. We knew that Olympics is a big sport, but uh, in fact, I was not to go for the qualification for the first one, 1988, and then I went and I got qualified. But yes, for 1992, being an Olympic sport, there was a lot of more focus from the government as well, media as well. Like I still remember that key before I went for Olympic, there were so many people coming and covering. Okay, what is your training? What are you doing? And so that was never happening for any of the TT related important events. So the attention was different. So 1992, since it was only the second time when table tennis was introduced, there was a huge change in the process of play. Even the format of selection also was different. We have seen that in table tennis, selection process has been changing over. So here the change was that earlier we had played in Islamabad between 9 countries, and 9 country only one person had to qualify. That what happened. I was lucky to qualify myself in the first. In the second time, they had a qualification event.
Hmm.
So in this event, 4 players from each country were sent, had to play in a qualification tournament held in Hong Kong. So there were about 48 players and they were divided into 6 group of 8 players each. Uh, was it 6 of 8? Yeah. So, and the qualification was such that the player of the particular country who finishes highest will qualify from his zone. Earlier it was zone wise. We played in these 9 tournaments, about 9 countries event, and that was one zone, Southwest Asia. Here, Southwest Asia had one quota, and but all the players were put up in different group. So we had to play a round robin among that group. So in that round robin, the one person who would finish at number one in each group, 6 groups, they automatically are considered as directly qualified. So when you're directly qualified, the advantage is that you go in the Asia quota.
Right.
Hence, the quota that is available for Southwest region would also remain open for an Indian to come in.
Right.
The groups were very strong. We had China, we had Japan, we had Korea, Taipei, because everybody had to do the qualification through this. So all the top players were there. So finishing first was probably something that we knew that we may not be able to achieve internally on paper. Of course, on table we never gave up. So that qualification tournament, myself, Sujay Gorpade, Chetan Babur. So 3 members were there in the men's, and I was in the group where I had a Korean, I had an Indonesian, I had a Chinese Taipei, I had another 2 players. So I think we were having 6 players in each group. Again, there's not 8. So we had to play 5 matches, and this was very historic, I would say. I had lost to the Indonesian in the first,
Hmm.
and then I won the remaining match. And there were last 2 matches. One was against the Chinese Taipei number 1 player, who was one of the hardest hitter at that, Cheng Peng Lung.
Hmm.
He was one of the hardest penhold player, tall. So that was a major victory, because in the decider I was 19-16 down with him, and from there I won that match. So when I won that match, my chances of qualifying became also stronger. However, I had to play the last one match with the Korean,
Hmm.
Lee San-soo. So he was also a very young player.
Yeah.
And again with him, I was down in the decider 1915. And from there I won. So these 2 matches which I won were almost on the brink of being defeated. Had I lost both these matches, I may not have qualified, because Chetan in his group would have finished, I think, third or something in his group, and I would have finished fourth. So obviously the person third and being highest in the southwest region, he would have qualified. But here I finished the top. I became the top of the group after winning these two very important matches, and this was obviously it was a very happy thing for two reasons. One, that would mean that one more Indian had a chance to qualify, and thirdly, I being direct qualifier in Asian zone, I had a right to select a doubles player of my choice who need not be the second person
Right.
qualify. That's how Sujay Gorpade, who and I, we were doubles players. So we recommended Federation and recommended the name of Sujay Gorpade, and he also got qualified as doubles. So there were three players who went over there in Barcelona. And after this tournament, we had regular camps for various tournaments in India. However, there was no specific camp which I went abroad for training. And then we went to Barcelona. The Barcelona, there was a huge change in the format. In South Korea, that is 1988, there were groups in which 8 players were there in the first stage. So
Right.
we had to play 7 matches. Similarly, for doubles also, we had to play 7. But that was taking a lot of time. So I think there was a total revamp.
Right.
And now the groups were reduced to 4 players in each group. So I was in a group of 4. And the doubles also, same thing happened. So in my group, I had Lu Lin, who was China's biggest future. That is what they claim. He was an old player, very strong and very fast moving player. Kim Taek-soo, an experienced and a very
Right.
renowned South Korea player, and one more player from Latin America. It was a tough group, and the very first match happened to be with Lulin. Coincidentally, with Lulin, I had played in Hong Kong because when I topped the group, then all the toppers of the group were in one zone, one group, to decide the position 1 to 6. So in that group, Lulin was there, and I was playing one of the best table tennis. I mean, I was at a peak, you can say, at that time. I wouldn't say total peak, but I was playing very well, and my confidence was also very high. In that particular match against Lulin, he literally banged me, thrashed me, and I felt that I played a very good table tennis, and I felt that this is the best that I could have played at that time. And in spite of that, he beat me so easily. And when I was again playing him here, obviously that was there in the back of the mind that last time I had lost to him very easily, and this time I'm not going to give in. I have to come with some strategy. And we had a Chinese coach, Mr. Lee Dayan. He had accompanied, and we also had Manjit Dua, who was the Indian coach who was there. So the match was in the morning, I still remember. And the first match was this on the table. And my coach was Chinese, and then Chinese national coach was later on Kaizen Hua, the president of Asian Table Tennis Association. And this match actually changed everything, frankly speaking. I won the game. I won the match 2-0. And in both the games, I was leading 5-15. And I still remember the second game, he covered up a lot. And the last service was in my hand, and the score was a 20. He came up to 2017 or 2018. And the last service was in my hand. And 2015, I was leading, and he had come down to 18. So he was attacking everything that was coming, even slight out. So now I took a break. And I said I must serve in and I must attack first, because he was very uncomfortable on my attack. And here he was not giving me opportunity to attack. He was taking the attack first. I literally served a very simple service, a beginner service I would call. And he tried to play it so sharp that it straight away went away from the table, and that was the match. What I can remember after the match, there was a pin drop silence. And in the stadiums, after that, when I went into the players' room lounge where everybody was there, the coaches, the players of the other countries who probably would not even talk much with us, they came running and they started, shaking hands and congratulating. So it was a total different atmosphere altogether. So I was very happy for 2-3 things, that for the first time an Indian was winning against a Chinese in Olympics. And Olympics, China are so well prepared. I mean, they really are very well prepared compared to many all the other countries, and that is the reason that you can see that the gold medals, most of the gold medals in up till now in Olympics have been won by them. And this was my memory of it. After that, I played Kim Taek-soo. Against Kim Taek-soo, I lost 1-2.
Hmm.
A very close match. It was 14 all in the decider, and I still remember I hit two very good shots, and he counter attacked on those shots, passed on to winner, and then I think the score was 21-16 that I lost.
Okay.
And then I won my third match. So I was in the contention for becoming number one. Only one player from the group would qualify.
Right.
And in the match with Kim Taek-soo and Lulin, Kim Taek-soo won, so he was the winner, and I could not qualify to the top 16. So this was what the memory was. Of course, the arrangements in Barcelona were very good as far as Olympics is concerned. The government support was good. Yeah, the weather I still remember. They didn't have fans in the Olympic village,
Hmm.
and the weather was little warmer than expected.
Okay.
So that was the only thing that I remember was little uncomfortable. However, we coming from a little warmer city, so for us we could adjust. But
Right.
a lot of Europeans we knew that were having a lot of issues with that. Otherwise, arrangements and everything was very good. And after the matches were over, I of course came back because my wife was expecting the second child. So this is the memory of Barcelona.
So you had experienced the whole Olympic Village aura in '88. So besides focusing on your matches, did you have anything on your to-do list when it came to the Olympic? Maybe possibly meeting a particular athlete or any such thing?
In meeting, yes, there I think Edwin Moses was one person that I wanted to see, and of course Steffi Graf was also playing that year. So these were the two players I could see them. Uh, Mainly they were not in the village, but in the opening ceremony. So opening ceremony is one thing that we really look forward, because there was occasion to see so many of the players whom we have only seen either on TV or on newspaper. So seeing them in person was a great motivating factor. And of course, there were a lot of tennis players. Stefan Edberg was there, who was in the village, and they would go around in this bicycle. And the fun is about, besides meeting other country players, another sport. Main thing was that key in the village when you stay with the Indian contingent, so you are meeting a lot of other Indian players of other sport who you may have been meeting only cursorily or customarily, like in functions saying hello hi, or in camps not really having much of interaction, but staying together. This was one thing I loved, was interacting, knowing them better, and knowing the difficulties that they come through, and how they came up. So this was motivating, and also knowledge sharing, I would say.
Okay. Defeating Lulin. Not too many would remember that an Indian had actually beaten a Chinese in an Olympics, right? Because you did not make it to the knockouts, like you
Right.
said. Uh, where would you place that victory in among the highlights of your career?
It is one of the biggest wins that I had, because recently I went to Bangkok for the ITTF summit, and Lulin was not so. I mean, he was supposed to have been identified as the next big thing for China.
Yeah.
He, when he in that Olympics he was there. He was already 3 to 4 time national champion of China, and considered to be the fittest. In fact, in that Olympics, he won a gold in doubles. So, I mean, he was the player that China was concentrating to be the next top player.
Right.
After that, we didn't see much about him, and I don't know what exactly happened. But yes, this is one victory which I cherish. One of the like a gem, the victory, like I would say, because it was Chinese and in Olympics. So that is what I was.
Okay. And the last bit for a sport like table tennis, uh, in '92, Olympics was primarily about participation, at least from an outsider's perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. We were not a medal prospect. And I always believe one thing, that We were not a medal prospect on paper.
Hmm.
And that's what I keep telling everyone, that on paper is one thing. And on paper, I was not supposed to win against Lulin.
Yeah.
On paper, I was not supposed to be number one in the qualifying. But on table, you nothing can. I mean, you start with love all, so anything can happen.